Hey, I'm Josh Ackman with Park Industries Customer Service Department. On this video, we're going to show you how to replace the cutting or freshwater valve on your Hypertherm Predictive pump this is going to be on. So how we knew that we have a bad one here actually is that our water pressure never drops below our 40 psi. That's our incoming water pressure. So that valve is not closing off and shutting the water off. Another thing you might hear, I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but I can hear a slight noise coming from the intensifier. And what that is the water going through and the poppets vibrating there with the water flow constantly going. With this water flow constantly flowing out, it does go into our recycling water system, which gives us more recycled water, but we go through more water and then you go through more filters. It'll clog your filters faster. So start out with here. Another way you can tell is the top left hose here is our cutting water outline that dumps out. And right now we're not running at all and it constantly has water flow coming out of it. So that's another way we know why that water valve is leaking, or that it is leaking here. So we'll come on this side here and we will replace that. So this is our cutting water solenoid. I'm going to start by just removing this screw and getting this cable off of here so we don't get any damage to that. Tuck that off to the side. Next step would be to remove this nut for the solenoid part here. I'm just going to use an adjustable wrench, crack that loose. Nut will thread off and then my solenoid will just slide right off. Just going to set that solenoid up in a dry area. Now you're left with the actual valve part of it. So what we're going to use here are just 2 jam nuts. These jam nuts are 1/2 inch by 20 for thread pitch here. So it is a fine thread. And then just screw that on as far as we can and then get our second one so we can jam the 2 nuts together and be able to pull that apart. So I just held that back one, brought the front one tight up to it, and now if I can get the correct angle here on the back one, just spin that out. So you can see that I do have some water leaking. We did forget to turn off the water. So we will turn off our fresh water. I'm just going to turn off our recycled so everything's off. We're just going to slowly turn this out until our pressure bleeds down here. And then you're left with your valve. I was double checking, making sure nothing's in there. So you do have your valve, and then it does have the plunger. So how that works is this pushes and seals off all the time, and when it calls for water, it energizes the solenoid side of it, and it pulls that in to allow the water flow. So we'll pull our nuts off of our old valve here. So here's our new valve. Comes with the solenoid and everything. It's up to you if you want to reuse your solenoid part. If the solenoid part was bad, you can try it. We are going to just replace the whole thing so everything is new for us here. So we're just going to take our cap off, take our nut. There's a little O-ring there on both sides. And then we'll just leave this, we'll set this over here and we're gonna thread our nuts on. And I'm just holding my thumb over the end of that valve to keep that in there and it doesn't drop on the floor and ding it up. One thing to double check is it also comes with a new O-ring. So where that other O-ring is right inside here it's laying if it didn't come out with your valve. So this O-ring we will pop out and we will put our new O-ring in there for that valve to the outside to seal off on. And then we'll just thread our new valve back in, making sure that your plunger and your spring are in there straight. Get that new valve tight, and we'll just snug it up with our jam nuts. And break your nuts loose, and mine held a little bit there. Okay, once you have that installed, then we can grab our solenoid. Our blue O-ring is on that side there. So then we're gonna just grab this one, and the other blue O-ring just fell into my hand. So we're gonna make sure we get that back on. And then we'll grab our nut. Now this nut, you don't have to, this nut is directional, so that flat machine side I'm going to have go towards the O-ring. And we're just going to hold our solenoid in the direction we pulled ours off of here. We're going to just snug that off. Doesn't have to be too tight. We'll grab our cable. Getting our cable off so that seals off. Now our valve is installed. So now what we're going to do is just turn our water back on. And we'll just give it a moment here and then just watch our gauges to make sure those are not climbing. If they're not climbing, then our valve is actually sealing off this time. And then we'll just start the intensifier up a couple times. And when we stop, just give it a minute or so and all your pressure should bleed off and you should have zero pressure incoming there. As always, if you have questions, just give us a call and we'd be glad to help. Thank you.